William Jennings Bryan, born in 1860 in a small town in southern Illinois, had a passion for oration. According to his family friends, he gave little talks when he was 4. He was highly skilled at public speaking and had an ability to connect with the common man. This made him one of the most famous, beloved, and influential Americans of this time. Bryan attended Illinois College, then soon after graduated from Union College of Law, making him the preeminent lawyer that would soon take charge in his speeches. He was a family man who was largely affected by the church. He grew up as a Presbyterian. He was very focused on taking religion solemnly, which caused Bryan to have ideas that were stuck in the past. These conservative ideas were illustrated when he was put on the stand on day 7 of the Scopes trial. Clarence Darrow questioned him about the miracles that occur in the Genesis. He stated that he believed entirely in the Bible and corrected Darrow's mistakes in interpreting it, causing people in the audience to laugh. During this time period, evolutionism was the latest and greatest in the scientific community. The ideas of evolution clashed greatly with religious beliefs. Darrow used science to question Bryan's interpretation of the Bible. Bryan would not give up in supporting what he believed in, even if it was questioned. Bryan even tried to start a campaign banning the teaching of evolution in schools. Many people had claimed that his faith in religion had made him turn against science education and the freedom of speech. The citizens of the science world did not understand his opposition to evolution. Bryan replied, "The Darwinian theory represents man as reaching his present perfection by the operation of the law of hate. Evolution is the merciless law by which the strong crowd out and kill off the weak." He believed that the Bible countered this merciless law with the law of love. This explains that Bryan did not use to reject the origins of man. It was only until Darwin's theory had showed him what was wrong with the world today. The world was already competitive, but now that people had learned that only the fittest survive, it became a fight for wealth and power. One thing people fought over most was money and using gold and/or silver. Bryan spoke out against the Sherman Silver Purchase Act. It did not permit free and unlimited coinage of silver, but it did increase the amount of silver that the government could purchase every month. He wanted more money in circulation to help the in-debt farmers recover and help the poorer citizens. He did this through one of the most historically famous speeches of all time, the Cross of Gold speech.
We care not upon what line the battle is fought. If they say bimetallism is good, but that we cannot have it until other nations help us, we reply that instead of having a gold standard, because England has, we will restore bimetallism, and then let England have bimetallism because the United States has. If they dare to come out in the open field and defend the gold standard as a good thing, we will fight them to the uttermost. Having behind us the producing masses of this nation and the world, supported by the commercial interests, the laboring interests, and the toilers everywhere, we will answer their demand for a gold standard by saying to them, "You shall not press down upon the brow of labor this crown of thorns. You shall not crucify mankind upon a cross of gold."
Even though doing what Bryan had hoped to do by delivering this speech would help many people, the rich and powerful were in charge and they wanted what was best for them. Silver backing money would make the rich have less valuable money. It would start to shorten the gap between the rich and the poor, therefore subverting the pyramid of wealth. This speed had actually led Bryan to 3 consecutive elections. He had lost all 3. He had started representing the minority, and now even representing the majority of people, the populist and Democratic parties, the rich were still in control. While taking part in Bryan's 3rd election, his most significant point was trust busting. This meant ganging up on the big banks and other large corporations. This encompassed the anti-elite mindset against the wealthy Republicans. Bryan's intentions were to break up the power and stand by what he believed was right. Howard Zinn wrote, "In the year 1877, the signals were given for the rest of the century. The blacks would be put back, strikes of white workers would not be tolerated. The industrial and political elites of North and South would take hold of the country and organize the greatest march of economic growth in human history. They would do it with the aid of and at the expense of black labor, white labor, Chinese labor, European immigration labor, female labor, rewarding them differently by race, sex, national origin, and social class, in such a way as to create separate levels of oppression, a skilled terracing to stabilize the pyramid of wealth." William Jennings Bryan and his speech support the accusations of the Gilded Age made by Howard Zinn. The time period was not as perfect as it seemed. It was a time of new ideas and changing the old ways.